Since you've been there in the south of California, so what about that short story about how did you get with Mike Warney, Shrapnel Records? I met Mike Warney 12 years ago, and you know what? I know for sure that you're one of his favorites.
Well, he's one of my favorites too.
I asked him because you're my favorite guitarist.
Well,
and I said, what about Tony? He said, Tony and Atma Anu, these guys are my favorites. You did 1986.
Yeah, there was people before me. David Chastain, all kinds of guys.
David Chastain, he's got his own record label.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, but I'm just saying, there were people there before me.
All right. But how did you get with Mike?
I don't remember, it just occurred. I opened for Black Sabbath, he found out about it, and then some other stuff. And, it wasn't, you know what I mean? It just happened. It wasn't one of those things like...
Anyway, thank you very much for the show. It was amazing, to see you playing that old stuff. You need to put more old stuff. It's really good.
Well, I am the old stuff now.
Thank you very much.
That's an interesting thing because, working with my new brother here, he has a lot of interesting rhythms, right? Remember we were sitting there and I'm like, what's the vibe with that? It feels like this is like 4/4, but it feels like 30-second 2 and making all this stuff up, And I think it's really just a feel thing. Mainly when I play, I just lay back. That's all I try to do. You can't fill all holes. Even if it's your stuff. I think what happens is when people play live, especially, that's why it happens live, they get a little, what's the word? Anxious.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, and that's what it is. So you got to practice whatever you're going to do.
Like an internal rhythm.
Does that make sense? Like if
Yeah.
I'm going to play in a live situation with people I don't know, I pretend, you don't want to see it, but that's what I do. I pretend I'm on stage with them playing with these people. Otherwise, when you go out there,
Yeah.
you're going to be, I don't know, a bit kind of intimidated.
And I notice you don't move your hand very much. I noticed that you keep it very controlled. Is that part of it too? Kind of.
I got this electric pick that moves by itself. I don't have to move my hands.
Can I buy one of those off you?
No, it's not for sale.
Oh, God damn it. Okay.
We haven't released it yet. I don't really have a favorite when I, because the journey of music is, it's enabled me to be around such sophisticated drummers, and each one of them I learned a lot from. I would probably say I learned a lot from Steve Smith in the very beginning, because I had never really been in a professional studio when I did Edge of Insanity, and he was a pretty stern teacher. I remember him going I was doing this. I think I told you that, doing this song, and I was ahead, then I was behind, and I was trying to figure it out, and he goes, there's 3 parts of the beat. Behind, right on it, or ahead. Pick one! And I was like, okay. And that was my first experience, and I learned right away, because, the red light goes on, you gotta play, and then, Steve's a teacher anyway, that's what he does, and I think that's the best way to learn, really. And after that, I started learning about relaxation, and laying back is better than always being on top of the beat. You know what I mean? So, and all the great drummers have that. But I've worked with so many. If I mention one, I'm gonna leave out 100.
Yeah.
Right? So, are you a drummer?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can tell you got that drummer build. There's a saying, never fight the drummer. You ever heard that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Maximum Security. That was a brilliant record for me to do because I was associated with so many wonderful players, and things like that can't be done on your own. So that was a lot of fun for me. Actually, all the records I did were a lot of fun. That's back when we used to have fun making records. You actually went to a studio. You didn't go to your bedroom and go, I'm in the studio. Right?
You were saying that.
I'm recording, man. But it was a great experience.
So you did a considerable amount of work with Billy Sheehan, especially on the earlier records. Do you have any intention of working with him again?
Yes, I do. Whenever he's free, and whenever I have enough money to pay him. Inside joke. we will do some stuff together again, obviously, yeah. We did a lot of things, you know, the PSMS thing was a lot of fun, of course. This band was cool, Devil Slingshot. Not a lot of people know about it, but it was a cool band with Virgil Nolly, Billy, and myself. So yeah, I'm always looking forward to working with these great musicians.
Question, I'm a huge fan of Planet X, and any chance of you and Virgil getting together?
Absolutely not. Let me drink some more.
Never again?
Well, he moved to Italy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So that'll be kind of tough. But yeah, you never know, right? You never know. And all the guys are doing such different things. And, you know, I listen to that stuff and I can't believe I even played on it. I mean,
So
I certainly didn't write it, you know.
Yeah.
Virgil is such a brilliant composer.
Particularly the live record.
Oh my
So
God,
good.
yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I think it comes down to the experience that you desire, you know, as a musician. Like part of the problem with that I see, and you and I were talking about, there's a lot of repetitious things that go on because, you know, people might see something on social media and then want to, you know, do exactly what that is. But I think that if you really have a good vision for the course, for instance, when I started playing with Steve Vai, I already had a whole bunch of other recordings out, but he's such a great original musician, right? That's what really inspired me, working with him. It's a whole different thing listening to his music, but standing on stage and playing with him every night, you know, how closer can you get? So I used to learn a lot of stuff like that, the power of like what it means to really have an individual, you know, conversation with the public. And that's important. I think we need that more as musicians. There's, you know, technique can mean a lot of things. It doesn't really necessarily mean one thing.
It's tough nowadays. Like I started playing when I was 9, right? And there was no smartphones at the time. It was like 2009. My parents only gave me those phones that you fold and had no internet when I was only 13. You know what I mean? So until then, it was all computers. And I felt that was very beneficial because I think at the age you are right now, you have one job, which is to enjoy playing, and passion is the only thing that's gonna lead you to something really great in the instrument. That's the only one thing. You can have followers, you can do great videos and stuff like that, but like right now, you have to fall in love as much as you can with the process of being a guitar player, which is a never-ending journey of searching for something that it's inside of you. You know what I mean? So by the time I was your age, Iron Maiden was my world. You know what I mean? Like I didn't, for 2 years of my life, I didn't listen to anything but Iron Maiden, and I'm not joking. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then that gave me a foundation of, you know, everything that I did after that, because you hold on to something inside of you that is that passion, that thing really, that it's pure and innocent, and that's what you got to do, you know. So just focus on playing the guitar and falling in love with that, and everything else, you know. I mean, you're here, you know what I mean, like you're already in Los Angeles. I was born in the south of Brazil. You go out in the streets and you see horses, you know what I mean? It's a very small city, and I was, for example, I was not supposed to be here, you know what I mean? I was like, I moved to the US when I was 17 years old, and I came to study at MI, which is the one thing that changed my life forever, you know? So as long as you have that passion, that's gonna drive you to pursue it if you really want it, you know what I mean? So that would be my take on it, if that helps.
Yeah, of course, thank you.
If you guys notice on the couple songs that I played of mine, there's some Brazilian parts and stuff. And a big influence on me was a band called Angra, Kiko Loureiro from Megadeth, right? He is one of my favorite guitar players, and he incorporated a lot of that in his stuff, and that's where I took the influence. And then when I came to MI, I started seeing Brazil in a very different way, because us Brazilians, we badmouth a lot of the great things we have there, because you don't have the outside perspective. And then you come to find out that your music is so rich, and all these people know Girl from Ipanema and Tom Jobim and all these songs, you know what I mean? So like, okay, I think I should take a look. So I had a teacher here called Sid Jacobs. is a master. Like, he taught me a lot of the arrangements from Wave by Tom Jobim and stuff like that. And I did a deep dive in this kind of stuff for a while here at MI in the 1.5 years that I stayed here. So I think me and Gabriel will always talk about that because Gabriel's from Brazil too. So just by us having access to that so naturally, we already think different in terms of melody. Portuguese is very melodic, you know what I mean? Ups and downs and stuff. And Brazilian music, I think it's the most complicated kind of music that it's bearable to listen to for somebody that knows nothing about music. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes you throw jazz stuff at people and they have no idea what it is. But you see people listening to bossa nova and it's so complicated, or as complicated sometimes, and people can sing to it. You know what I mean? So I think that's such a masterful like thing that they pulled off, that it's like genius. You know what I mean? So that will be my answer for it. It's a great question. Thank you.
Instrumental guitar.
Absolutely.
Music ever.
Absolutely.
Oh, thank you
That
very much.
still moves me. That video with you at the
Thank
BC
you.
Ridge,
Yeah,
amazing.
it was an Ibanez, I think.
Black BC Ridge.
It was an Ibanez.
Oh,
Have a seat, sir. You're right, I'm just kidding. Well, you have to try things and see if you like them. That's one of them, right? Because you know, you might not know. You certainly can't go by, you know, what somebody really tells you. It's really important to have some kind of dialogue, don't you think, with about that has a lot to do with many things outside of just you know, like an endorsement, let's say, because it's more than that. You know, you have to play something that you believe in. That, right? You just don't want somebody to give you a guitar. Here, play this. I'm going to give you a bunch of money in a car.
Absolutely.
You know. So it's kind of really what it's all about. It's what the company, if they see it, you know, in line with you. I mean, I have these guitars, and I don't get new guitars often. I like the original things, and I think these things are amazing, but I can't keep up with all of it. You know? So I look at it that way, and what do you think?
I think it's all relationships, man. You know,
Yeah.
an endorsement won't make your career. You know what I mean? I've been
Yeah.
with DSP for 11 years now, and
Yeah.
it's all relationship. You have to think that behind brands there are people. You gotta get
Exactly.
along with these people. These people have to think of you like a piece of in the game. You know what I mean? Like, I think this guy can bring something to the table, and you gotta be valuable. So the first thing you gotta worry about is how can you add value to like your name and what you do and what you have to offer. You know, because a lot of times endorsements can be inconvenient too, depending on what the deal you have, because you don't want to carry like a big amp sometimes, you know what I mean? You don't want to play the same guitar over and over, and sometimes you want to play a Fender or whatever, you know, that happens. But like, it depends on what you want to do, you know what I mean? And remember that it's about relationships, immersion. Like, you gotta be really in it so you can find something, and I stumbled upon the idea when I was 14 years old. And since then I was like, I'm onto something, I'm gonna keep doing it. So one exercise that I do, and if you guys follow me on Instagram and YouTube, I have a series of videos that I do, renditions of classic solos. And that was a research that I started years ago, I did by myself. How can I play classic licks without doing the same thing over and over? Because you always hear the... stuff that adds a little different bite, and that's what everybody always did. Brian May didn't copy Jimi Hendrix, and Eddie Van Halen didn't copy Jimi Hendrix. They made it their own, but people sometimes are afraid of that, and you gotta own it. Some people think on the internet my playing is obnoxious, and I don't care, you know what I mean? Because that's who I am, you know what I mean? Like, I sound like that, so that's where it comes from. It comes from trial and error and not being fearful.
It's called Cancer Kinship,
Okay.
in partnership right now with another nonprofit called Ritmo, and we're collaborating and creating curriculum that is basically based on music and how cancer patients or anyone going through a hard time can leverage the power of music to get through the hard time and to heal. So I'm just kind of curious if you have any tips that I can take back to my clients to say, hey, you guys can utilize music to get through a tough time. So any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously music if you enjoy it and you enjoy playing it, it's a method of positive energy. And oftentimes when you're ill, you focus on, we all do it, we focus on the inevitable. Like, am I going to make it through this, or is this going to change my life? And you really shouldn't do that. That's the great thing about music. When I was sick, I was, I really didn't want to stop. I just wanted to be focused on things that had nothing to do with what was going on with me. But there was so much love, and in the community, and the people, the great players that came forth, and reinforced that for me. So I realized that was the main thing, that you can't do it on your own. You have to do it with really positive energy. And music's got that.
More beautiful music over the years.
We're still teenagers. We're just a little older now.
So my question, earlier there was a question about the 11-year-old just starting out. I'm kind of at the other end of the spectrum. I've been playing for about 40 years.
Yeah.
And you hit these plateaus where I pick up the instrument, you're repeating the same patterns and kind of getting this rut. And I'm wondering if any of you guys have advice for how, when you hit those plateaus and you find you're repeating either it's the same songs or scales, and how do you get past that, and what do you do to kind of take your playing to another level when you hit those plateaus?
Well, I read a lot of music. I think reading is a really great aspect of having a different vision on your musical emotions, because I think that always being able to interpret something by watching somebody is not really the best way. The best way is really reading and not listening to anybody else, but make an interpretation of that the way that you feel it should be. You just have to discover yourself. That's really all it is. 100%. Don't you agree?
Yeah, of course. I think that's a big part, but I would give you a perspective of somebody who doesn't read music.
That's why that's why I said that and looked at you.
So I think
I'm always on him.
Yeah, he's always like, with the the music sheet, and we're trying to get something down. It's like, can't you just read this? Like, man, I can't. Show me how to play it. So I think there's different perspectives on this. At least for me, you gotta be honest that music is every kind of art is driven by motivation and inspiration, right? Try to find some of that, what excites you, right? And then when you hit a plateau, there's always things that are inconvenient that you could be doing. Wake up 1 hour earlier and practice with the metronome. Nobody wants to do that, but if you do, I'm sure things won't be the same. You know what I mean? So always the stuff that it's inconvenient, I don't want to do that. That's what it is. That's where is the next step. You know what I mean? I don't want to, oh my God, I don't feel like learning this solo right now. No, let's get started. At least get started, get familiar with it. But if you have inspiration and motivation from these things that you listen to, artists and stuff, you're going to pull it off, you know what I mean? And then once you start, you create a habit, and it's all a habit, you know what I mean? People ask me, how do you, technical wise, how do you get alternate picking down? Do it until it hurts. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants to sweat a lot when you play, if you want comfortable and take breaths and stuff but that's where it takes you, you know what I mean? Because you got to pay the price. You got to pay the price of mastering the instrument. Doesn't come from convenience. So that would be my take on it.
Had a chance to open for Black Sabbath, and we won that. And that was, I never figured that would be the start, of something like that. But I think that's an important aspect of trying to find people that can do stuff for you if you're not good at it. You maybe get a good manager. It's a very important thing, because they can make that connect for you. And from there, I just learned a lot of things. When I opened for Sabbath, they were talking to me. They go, it's an interesting thing, but I don't think this band's right for you. And so you got to kind of get ideas from what people say, and you're not going to ignore them, right? I was like, they got to be right, and it's important. I think it's an important aspect of not trying to do everything yourself, trying to surround yourself with people that can help you do things that you might not be really efficient at doing.
You need a booking agent, right? You got to have somebody that you can take care of you and can book the shows for you, who knows all the venues, but also maybe spend a few extra bucks and open for somebody that already has a following.
That's what I was gonna say.
You know what I mean? In Red Devil, we've been building this band. We opened for Doyle, Power Man 5000, OTEP, We just opened for Epica too, which is a big metal band from Europe, and most of our fans, you know, like they come from those shows because it's hard for people to introduce and see a logo online or a picture or a flyer and, oh, I'm gonna check this out. So yeah, that will be the first step, you know what I mean?
Listens or hears the bass ever. So we wanted to change that, and we wanted to give it a cool tone, a cool distortion tone. Because just like Luis Kalil, I'm also the heavy metal guy, but on bass. And you know, I missed a good bass distortion, so I wanted to create one, and we did. And it comes with a comic book. It's a limited edition. If you guys want to check it out, it's at our merch booth as well. So yeah, cheers.
A special shirt of the event, a Tony MacAlpine and Luis Kalil t-shirt. You guys can check out over there. We're gonna be taking pictures of it with everybody. Our albums are there for sale, some Red Devil Vortex stuff as well. So make sure you hang out, stick around, and talk to us, and want to hang and get to meet you guys. Now on drums, I met this guy playing a Halloween residency with my buddy Kazuki there too, which is an amazing guitar player who I met here at MI. So on drums, we have Joey Aguirre from Siptane. These guys are just nailing it.